YouTube. Today I'll be reviewing my Orient Mako XL automatic watch. This is the fully lumed dial version. It came in this black Orient box with a metal top. And for those of you who don't know, Orient and Seiko are sister companies. They both belong to the parent company Epson. So here it is, came on a white pillow. And here's the hang tag with the model number. What drew me to this watch was, of course, the fully lumed dial. And in pictures, some pictures make it look white, but in reality it's a greenish cream color. Here's a shot of the stock oyster style bracelet that it comes on. This bracelet does not taper, and it has your basic push pins that are connecting the links. I'll go ahead and put up the specs, but in terms of case size, we're looking at 44.5 millimeters. If you include the crown, that's going to be 47.2 millimeters, so rather large. The lug-to-lug distance is 51 millimeters. The lug width is 22 millimeters. And the case thickness on this watch is 13.3 millimeters. Here's a side view. You can also see the crown positioned at 3 o'clock, and there is a day pusher there, so you can change the day of the week. This watch does have a screw down crown, and it is 200 meters water resistant. This case has a nice mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. It's polished on the side, brushed on the top, and there is a bevel in between. So the screw down crown is not signed and actually a little bit undersized in my opinion. This watch does have a rotating bezel, but I found that it's, at least my watch, it's a little bit stiff, actually a lot stiff. You can see here with gloves it's a little bit more difficult, but even without gloves it's not the easiest bezel to turn. I'm not sure if this watch would have a break-in period of sorts, meaning the more and more you turn the bezel maybe it gets easier, but I'm not sure. Moving on to the crown, like I said, it is a screw down crown, so I'll go ahead and unscrew it. First position, actually fully out lets you adjust the time. First position will let you adjust the date, and for the day you have to push down on this pusher, and that's how you change the date here. It's a little unusual. In fact, it's the only watch I have that has that pusher. Both the crown and day pusher are polished to match the side of the case. And screwing the crown back in is not the easiest thing to do, simply because the crown is, like I said, a little undersized for this watch. The crystal is just a standard mineral crystal. So far I haven't had any issues with it getting scratched. The case back is a screw down case back. The case back is etched with the Orient logo. Otherwise the underside is all polished. And you can also see the hollow end links that come with the stock bracelet. The bracelet clasp is a fold over push button style clasp with stamped metal. It has 3 micro adjustment holes, and there is an Orient logo stamped onto the clasp. The bracelet links have a brushed outer surface and are only polished on the sides. Overall, I think this is one of the better stock bracelets that I have. I'll go ahead and give you a shot of what this watch looks like on my wrist. I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, so this watch looks a little big on me. I'm currently wearing my Seiko Alpinist SBDC089. So here's how it looks. I think because of the long lug to lug distance, I can barely pull it off. I would say that lug to lug distance is the main factor in whether a watch wears well on your wrist or too large, because if those lugs overhang the sides of your wrist, that's where it starts looking too large for your wrist, in my opinion. Moving on to the dial, you can see the silver applied markers that are lume filled and the black outer minute track. There's an applied silver Orient logo near the 12 o'clock and the word Orient in automatic printed below. Automatic and the words water resist are in cursive font, and it does also have 200 meter indicated below near 6 o'clock. The hands are polished silver and have a raised edge along the center. They are lumed, and the second hand is also polished and includes a lume pip about a quarter of the way down from the tip. Legibility on this dial is not the best in my opinion, since the hands and markers are silver on a lighter background, so if Orient had included some black outer edges on the markers or hands, I think that would have improved legibility. But overall, I think the dial still looks stunning. One of the big appeals of Orient automatic watches is that their movements are all made in-house. This particular movement is an older 46943 21 jewel movement. Does not hack, does not hand wind, is not very fancy looking, as you can see on screen. And oddly enough, I could not find anything that specified the power reserve of this movement, but I'm going to assume it's probably around 40 hours. Here's the watch on the time grapher. I previously tried to regulate this movement, and you can see it's kind of erratic in terms of the beat rate. It's jumping around plus 29, minus 8, plus 11. So in reality, the watch is keeping good time, but on the time grapher, it's hard to really see that. I'm not sure why that is happening. This is a pretty hefty watch, so as you might imagine, it does weigh a good amount. So 176 grams on my scale. For comparison purposes, my Seiko SKX, also on a metal bracelet, weighs 6 grams less than that. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Orient Mako next to an Orient Komatsu, which is a 41.8 millimeter case size watch. I bought my watch from Amazon in early 2020 for $123. I can see there are other variants that are still for sale for around $150 to $170. They don't have the fully lumed dial anymore, at least on Amazon. However, I would say if someone's looking to buy this watch, the Mako XL, you should probably look at the Orient Kano as a better, more modern alternative. It's got around the same case size. I think it still looks good in my opinion. There's no fully lumed dial version, but I like how this watch looks, and I would probably recommend this one over trying to get a Mako XL at this point. To recap, I enjoy having this watch in my collection. I was originally looking for a white dial 200 meter dive watch, and then I came across this fully lumed dial Orient model and thought it'd be cool to own. Because of its size, it has a lot of wrist presence. I like the Orient brand and how they make all their movements in-house, and feel that Orient makes quality watches. I own the Orient Komatsu teal dial and a couple Orient Bambinos, so I'm familiar with Orient and feel that they're providing a lot of value in automatic watches. It's kind of a bummer that this Mako XL has an older movement, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Orient movements share the magic lever system from Seiko movements. So if you wear this watch regularly, the fact that it doesn't hand wind shouldn't be that big of a deal. If you're into larger watches, or you like the Rolex Submariner homage look, I think this would be a good watch for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please think about leaving a like, and I'll try to upload more watch related content. Until next time.